that like button and subscribe. Once you subscribe, you'll be open to a plethora of movies and television series that I have reviewed. Little housekeeping. I do apologize for clearing my throat all the time. Uh, looks like I'm coming down with a cold. So I've got all my stuff. I got my hot tea and everything like that. And we're going to have a great show. All right. So again, we are here talking about Lively, Baldoni, and Jones. Sounds like a sitcom. Sounds like a sitcom. And so what I wanted to do was go over a couple of lives that I had. There were some questions, and there were some questions that I highlighted that I do want to go over. Let's see. Oh, I have a new one. Let me just share my screen. And I hope you all can see it. Let me see if I can see it. Yeah, you all can see it too. All right. We'll make it a little bit bigger. Let's see what we say. So basically what I'm doing is going over the comments that were sent to me. And we're going to go over these comments. I'm going to answer them the best I can. If we need to pull out the lawsuits to see if there is any answers in those questions, or if you all know the answer, drop it down in the comments. All right. And also what we're going to do is I go down these rabbit holes, and I was interested in what others are saying about this case. And I will tell you, it's a mixed bag. There are people who are staunch supporters of Blake Lively. I'm going to go over that. There are people who are staunch supporters of Justin Baldoni. I haven't seen too many people talk about Jones and what support or anything they have, because that's the PR person. I haven't seen anything positive, nor have I seen anything negative. I've talked about the negativity and the cutthroatness of that business that is coming out, and also I have talked about, and it's just my opinion, it's almost like it's a very strange relationship between public relations and journalists. And published PR people can put stuff out in the air, and all they have to do is say, well, as your source, I'm telling you this. As your source, I'm telling you that. And so they can be just as vague. And true enough, the journalist or the mass media will say, oh, okay, so according to a source that was close to the such and such. And I'm finding out that 9 times out of 10, the source is the PR team of that particular actor, or entertainer. We'll just say entertainer, because that'll cover all forms and genres of entertainment. And so I am starting to really, really get a eye-opening from this case, regardless of who you believe or anything like that, because I'm not here to tell you who to believe, and I'm not telling you how to think or anything like that. I love a good public discourse. If we're going to talk about it, let's talk about it. But I do think that this is an interesting case to get to the behind the scenes on a few things. Again, PR and the PR machine at work. Number 2, how people will underhandedly go back behind your back. Their public image may look like one thing. You know what I'm saying? And or they surround themselves with someone who has a great public image. And so by association, that image is together or looks good together. But when you start to, when the things crack, you start to see people's public image doesn't match who they actually are. And so we're trying to see that. Now, I will tell you, if you've grown up and listening to like R&B music and pop music, you've seen this readily. One of the examples that I will clearly put out there is Whitney Houston. Everyone has when you look at what her public image was when she first came out, it was such a very crafted, wholesome public image. And then there were cracks. Now, everyone would say, oh, that's because when she got with Bobby Brown, he took her down. No, no. Whitney's, when you start understanding and pulling the layers, now do not mishear me. I'm not trying to, because there's a lot of people who fall under this. You either have to be good. If you're not good in the sense of what good is, you're bad. And I'm not that person. I know we all roll in gray areas. I know that we do. We all have done some things that were morally upsetting. Wasn't illegal, but people were like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you did that," and you recover. And she was one of those people. She was just one of those people. Her image was crafted. Clive Davis crafted this image of Whitney Houston that didn't match her persona. We started to see some of the cracks in that as she got older, but apparently also we also knew her drug usage became out of control, because even when back then, when her image was crafted, it was alleged that she was using at that point. So all of that to say is I've had, understanding that people's public image doesn't match their actually who they are, and particularly who they are behind the scenes. Oh, goodness. So let's get into these comments really quick. Let me bring them back up so we can read it and then kind of answer them like that. All right. And this is Yaya Belinder. And she says they had no choice. It was co-produced by Sony. Sony wanted her, as did the author and the book. BL and RR are worth a lot of incomes for these companies. JB is worth much less. Sony would have never accepted to force BL to leave the film shooting. It probably was a very risky business, as she creates. It won't, okay. It won't let me. I'm sorry. As she creates problems everywhere she goes. These little producers couldn't produce that film without the Sony participation, especially as Sony is also the distributor. They were not the bosses, Sony was the boss. And I think she lied all along for total other reasons. Actually, I was not surprised by what was happening. She is always a nightmare to work with, a lot of problematic situations before. On the other hand, he, JB, always had a very good reputation according to his coworkers. You know what she didn't like? This is my theory. Okay, we get into theories, y'all. He said no to her while she was flirting with him. And as she is used to always getting what she wants, it made her really mad. And I think that RR doesn't know the whole story. Anyway, we will know soon, because all of their conversations on text messages are going to be publicly revealed, according to what I heard. He wants a public trial with jurors. She didn't want that at first, of course. She doesn't. She doesn't want us to know. JB's lawyer is going to show it all. Seriously, if you are harassed by a guy, would you invite him to come into your trailer while you're pumping? I wouldn't. Actually, I wouldn't do it in front of anyone because it's too private. Just asking him to come while she is pumping is kind of weird to me, unless she wanted to seduce him or flirt with him or provoke him. She used to date her she's used to dating her co-stars. She used to date her co-stars. It wouldn't have been the first one. I am not the only one to have this theory. My reply: all right. That is my reply. Isn't that how her and Ryan Reynolds got together? Don't know. Just asking. Let's see. All right. So I highlighted some of the questions that I wanted to read. It says here, and this is in regards to, this is from Gary. This is in regards, Gary P2053. This is in regards to when we were talking about him being going to the house and they berated him. It says also during this period of time, wasn't Hugh Jackman and Ryan spending a lot of time at his house? Abel wasn't fired. She gave a 6 weeks or months notice that she was leaving the company to start her own business. This was in the lawsuit. Jones asked her to hand over her phone to delete company information. It's not defamation, it's not a defamation lawsuit, it's a libel lawsuit. Based on the statements that NYT took at over thousands of texts, but only used the doctored or edited text messages as proof of the supposed smear campaign. But they didn't use any of the text messages that Justin said he didn't want to do anything negative to Blake. They left those out. Okay. So, and he also placed on here, it says, no, we're nowhere in the lawsuit did it say Ryan was screaming at Baldoni. It did say he berated him. And the fact that TMZ, they are attempting to change the language while admitting he was angry to quote, impassioned, I'm calling BS. When you're angry, you tend to raise your voice. Also in the Baldoni lawsuit, they stated that it was Blake with her legal team who brought the return to production agreement. It was signed and the meeting in question was supposed to be a production meeting. If this person is having harassment issues, why are you having the meeting at your house? That doesn't make sense. This should be in a business setting. Several instances in the complaint and lawsuit happened at their house. And I said, the meeting at the house makes no sense. Jamie Heath signing the document without Justin knowledge makes no sense. There are just so many actions that make no sense. Plus, why was Sony okay with all of the changes? Why wasn't the producer who handles the budget not advised of all the changes Blake made? And the question no one is asking, who actually gave her permission to make changes? You know, she made changes with the wardrobe. She did all those things. Who actually gave her the go ahead? Is there some paperwork saying, hey, let Blake do all of this? Or did just people just acquiesce? That's my question. Because again, in my head, if you've got a budget of $25 million, the bean counters are very clear after you have paid the actors and have the salary budget for the people who are participating in the movie. After you have all of that stuff, I'm quite sure there's a wardrobe budget. I'm quite sure there is a craft service budget. And I'm not a movie person. So if there are budgets out there that you all know about, let me know. But there's probably being a craft service budget, all of these little different things. All of these budgets seem to have taken place. Who gave the go ahead for Blake to be the costume wardrober? Oh, and FYI, I do see that it's playing on Netflix. So I am going to, after this live, I'm definitely going to go and see if I can watch it. Because some of the comments that I found on the internet, baby, they are wham-basting that wardrobe choice that was made. But that was my question. Who actually gave that permission? And I am just too curious why all of those decisions and things like that were made. And also, again, I said it in that live. Why do y'all keep going to these people's home? Why put yourself in a situation that you'll go into the home? Now, we did read what Yaya put out here, and the way that she spoke, where she wrote this together right here. And I want to go right back over again, read what she said. That she was the bigger star. And where is it? Because I want to make sure that I highlight it. Here it is. It was co-produced by Sony. Sony wanted her, as did the author of the book. Now that's interesting because I saw I think it was a tweet, and I'm going to show it to you, where they were there was that led me to a story about the people who are supporting Blake Lively, and the author is supporting Blake Lively. So Even though Justin Baldoni has the rights to the story, it is the authors in support of Blake Lively. So that's an interesting twist that's coming out of that. Let me see what this says. So this is the junk farm. It says, thanks, Pangrade. There's a, I don't know. It's alive. It's alive. Thank you. So much fake info out there. It's hard to know what's up. But it sure seems like Nathan's troll army is still quite active, all over everyone's comments spreading bull. Lively is probably doing it too, and Jones, but they don't seem so unhinged and unrelated. Not seeing very many he's terrible comments, but she sucks will have 900 likes and 5 replies, and all of the replies have 900 likes. She has a history of dating. This is Robin GRL 23. She has a history of dating co-stars. Ryan was married to ScarJo when they met. Interesting. And again, I don't want anybody to mishear me and think I'm being salacious, but I do want to read the comments because I do think it's important to know what you all are thinking about this. I do think it's important to kind of go over, because you all are a microcosm of the people at large. So I do like to see what you all have to say, and that helps me with understanding more. Because again, I will tell you, I jumped into this because when I read the Blake Lively, and I was like, oh, okay, she's being sued. And then when he sued the New York Times, my antennas went up, because I have been probably over the past couple of years, I have been disillusioned about mainstream media. And I'm not one of those conspiracies. It's just that I have just come to realize that people will write stories and fact checking, or I remember, and shout out to Bluminati, he had made a statement and I remember it and it stuck with me. And he said, journalists used to have a lot of integrity. And that is because a lot of times most journalists were quote unquote blue collar. And now, you think about reporting back in again, you may not be as old as I am, but you think about the fact that reporting, you were only able to get to reporting in the newspaper. And then when online services came up, there was some extra areas that you can use. But there used to be a time period that, the story couldn't have any kinks. The stories couldn't have any holes in it. If you had to run up your sources, if your sources didn't verify A, B, C, D, or you'd have to try to get 2 sources in order to verify the information, it didn't go into the story. And as we started turning into the internet, I don't know if you all remember, it was probably back in the late 90s, going into the early 2000s, how a lot of journalists were being fired because they would make up stories. They would say they had sources. They would make up stories, or they would embellish the truth about a story. And so what was happening is a lot of journalists, those particular journalists that came in and they were getting all the accolades, you saw that they kind of went by the wayside. And so now the way I see it, with the influx of social media, with people being able to have blogs, with people being able to be on the spot like a journalist in courtrooms and things like that, we are able to see more information other than what the mainstream information wants to give you. So me saying that, I've been disillusioned about that. When I saw this story and when I read about the PR teams and all the stuff that they're doing, something clicked in my head like, girl, these people out here putting out stories and stuff like that. And sometimes these stories are they're put out by the PR team, good, bad, or indifferent. And so unless you are somebody that was close to the situation and you're willing to speak to someone outside of the mainstream media, this you really almost can't rely on any story. That's the information that you have, and that's the information that is out. But I'm now starting to realize some of these things are crafted in such a way that, again, if there's a certain image that they want, that Hollywood wants to portray of a certain actress, actor, producer, director, any of those things, if they have a carefully crafted image, it gets real difficult for people to believe that these people with the very crafted public image is doing hell behind the scenes. So let's get into this. Let's get into this. It says here, and this is by Candace 2117. Wayfarer and Baldoni own the rights to both Colleen Hoover's books. It ends with us and it starts with us. It's more likely that Blake Lively wants to produce the sequel, but she and RR would have to buy the rights from Wayfarer and Baldoni, which is not likely to happen. So they need to move on and find another movie to use as a catapult for Lively's career. And I wrote up under, I said it's all about the money. And so I got this from, I know you're going to say, oh, Pam, you're being crazy. But as I was on TikTok, TikTok is short videos. You could consume a lot of those short videos in a small amount of time. But when I typed in, it ends with us, it came up with a lot of people who talked about the books. They enjoyed the books. They loved the books. They loved the character. A lot of them, again, were talking about the wardrobe incident. And now I will tell you this. I was reading tweets back from, I think there was a leak or something back in February, because I think the tweets I saw were like February, March. And there was and people were talking about the wardrobe and stuff like that then, even before we even saw this. And when it came out in August, people were talking about how what the movie meant to them. So there was a lot of people who read these books and have gravitated to the characters and love the characters. So it's interesting to see that through all of that, because this is what I was thinking when I initially read all of this stuff. My thing was, it's something about the money, something about the way this is working out. It's about money. Can I say something did or didn't happen on the set? No. I can only tell you what people say individually about these people. I can give you my opinion on how I feel about the PR teams and all of this. And when I put everything together, when you put all this stuff together, it hit my head. It's something about money. There is some type of situation about money going on. And that's when we're going to get to the bottom of it. All right. I think there's one or two more. So this is by J. Paladin, Have Smarts Will 5508. These lawsuits stem from the classic cases of inflated egos and greed. These things fuel the fires of personality conflicts with a winner take all with no prisoners attitude. If cool head lawyers don't get their clients to settle these matters quietly, I feel all the plaintiffs and defendants' reputation will be scorched. Now, Shorty P1000 said, this is word salad. Smearing a person's reputation in an industry that runs on that very thing is why we have certain laws in place like defamation. Okay, so let me move out of these comments really quick. And let's go to my, we'll go into my, I'm going to still call it Twitter. I know it's X. I'm going to still call it Twitter because that's what I know it to be. So if that bothers y'all, I apologize. But, it changed names so quickly. It really didn't even have to change names if you let me tell it. It should have just stayed Twitter. All right, let's see who's here. Hey, Kat. How you be? How you doing? Those are your comments. Thank you so much for watching. Yes, I read your comments. I do appreciate them. Yes, exactly. Is it Blake's version or Justice versions being made? Now, I can tell you what I've seen on again when because again, The age group that really is talking about this is 35 and under, and they're on TikTok. And so as I have watched their videos, most of them seem to be pro Jason. I mean Justin. I don't know why I keep calling him Jason. Pro Justin. But a lot of them seem to have a history of not really liking Blake Lively. I've seen a couple, and I will pull those TikToks up. I've seen a couple of TikToks where people have had, and thank you, Kat. Kat sent one to me as well. I've seen a couple of TikToks where people had interactions with Blake, and they were not good in interactions with her. So, as far as what the people are feeling, they have a distinct now. Does that ring true that the PR people were able to get out here and destroy her reputation? I don't know, because again, a lot of the stuff that we see with Blake Lively comes from her own mouth. I mean, I've seen the interviews that she's done. And again, and I talked about how she was in that interview and she didn't even seem to understand or know what was going on with the she didn't have a very cohesive answer for her question for someone who has played a character that she had. Yes, it's on Netflix. If you all want to go see the movie is on Netflix. Today, I watched the D'Angelo Wallace breakdown of the Blake It Ends With Us disaster. And he said, yeah, it was organic and all Blake. Interesting. Is he, D'Angelo? I don't know who D'Angelo Wallace is. That someone on YouTube that I can look up and see? Well, think Fox News. It's entertainment versus no. Yes. What gets more clicks or entertainment? True journalism is gone. Exactly. Because when you tell, as the old adage is, the lie will spread quicker than the truth can catch up. So yes, and people want to be entertained instead of understanding the truth. This is why a lot of us as Americans are shocked when we see something happen. Have you ever watched the news and something happens in a community and the first thing that they'll say is, well, that's nothing that ever would have happened in my community. We never would have had this. And then when you hear the doggone story, it's about sex, lies, and videotapes. So the sex lies have been going on in the community forever. And now because of those sex and lies and videotapes, there comes a time when someone is doing something, then everyone is like shocked. Why were you shocked? You knew the pastor was creeping with several of the ladies in the congregation, and then he messes around and creeps with the woman who has a questionable mental faculties, and then she prunes him from the timeline. Now everybody is shocked and amazed, and they don't know what was going on. When we know, just like anybody else, the gossip train in church is very high and prevalent, whether they tell you it is or it isn't. The gossip train is very high out in the community, whether they tell you it is or it isn't. And you've already known some information about this stuff. You don't say anything because you don't know if it's the truth or not. I can go there. But you knew about the stuff, you knew about these people. And then it's like, oh, well, no one said anything. Just like, again, when we talk about abuse, when we talk about SA, by the time you get the perpetrator, they have ran havoc through a community. And they have been allowed to run havoc through a community because depending on the relationship that the perpetrator has with the community leaders, that he's allowed or she's allowed to run havoc. Now we're big as a society to pick up on the SA from men. But as a society, we kind of push when we see that SA coming from women. Because somehow, some way, men have deluded themselves to believe that type of stuff is some kind of rites of passage. But yet these same men, having gone through that, you'll see how they treat women. So this is why I was saying that, again, journalism needs to be back, integrity in journalism, and not all of this always entertainment. There's nothing wrong with entertainment, but I think it should be made clear in a little excerpt or anything like that. Just like when you watch movies, they'll tell you no animals have been harmed in the making of this show. The things that we see on here are false, or these are based on a true story. I think with these news entertainment shows, that should be said. The opinions of the guest belong to the opinions of the thing, and are not the opinions of stuff. And these are opinions, the things said are alleged. And unless they have a journalist come on before and give everybody the information, and then you sit down and you have your panel, and then the people can give their opinion about certain things, you know. I think that would bolt over, so people won't sit here and actually believe. We've got a whole society right now that believe information just because it's presented to you by pretty women with their makeup done very well, pretty petite women, and men in suits who appear like they have a level of authority. Just because it's presented to you by these people doesn't actually make it news. Have you verified that information? But I'm on a tangent. I'm sorry. It's important to verify sources. Exactly. It is. The AP is always a good source of information. Excuse me. I can't get with that. I don't even know why the name changed. It didn't make any sense to me. It didn't make any sense to me. That just seems like doing something just to do something, which didn't make any sense. You had a great brand name as Twit and Tweeters. Twitter and tweets. I don't know what they call them on X. Are they still called tweets? I don't know exactly what they are. Both have a version edited, I believe. However, BL's version is the one that was released. Okay. Okay. Because I do remember in one of the lawsuits where it was said that the editors were working on the director's cut. If Justin's tested higher, why didn't they release that one? I think if we go back to Yaya's statement, I think that would make plenty of sense. I think they didn't release it because of the fact that, let me see if I can find her tweet. I don't believe they released it because the author loves Blake Lively. Sony them love Blake Lively. So, and they love Ryan Reynolds. And apparently I'm learning some more information about Ryan Reynolds being involved in all of this stuff. Because again, we find out because Blake had presented this information, and I think I saw that in the lawsuit, was the fact that her husband helped write some of the story. He is no way connected with that story. He's not on the payroll for anything. So why is he writing stories? All right. Let's go. Let me share this screen real quick. Let me share my tab. All right. So I am on my X. Why is it? I tell y'all, I need an editor. So I am on my X. It says here, TikTok user. This is from the Clarion Ledger. Don't know who they are, what they do, but I saw this and I put it in my bookmarks. It says TikTok users have a theory a Ryan Reynolds Deadpool character, or at least some jokes, was based on Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively's legal feud. So let's see where we're going here. No. It says here, and it's written by Bonnie Bolden. Can y'all see that? Did Ryan Reynolds write jokes about Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni fight in the Deadpool movie? It says TikTokers have a theory that Ryan Reynolds' character in Deadpool and Wolverine, or at least some of the jokes, were based on Justin Baldoni. Movie fans are noting similarities in jokes made by Reynolds in the film and filings in the ongoing legal battle between his wife, actress Blake Lively, and Baldoni director and male lead It Ends With Us. Lively has argued that the set of It Ends With Us was toxic and cited sexual harassment. The New York Times did an in-depth story about her claims. Baldoni and other plaintiffs have now sued the New York Times about the piece. Lively was not named in his suit. Therese Lee, who used TikTok handle Therese H. Lee, recently made a video asking whether Nice Pool, a character Ryan Reynolds played in the Deadpool and Wolverine, was designed to take digs at Baldoni. The video, which can be viewed below, contains foul language. All right, so that is the precursor. Let's see what they have to say.
Thank Melanie Hamlet and a woman named Cheryl Etchinson for drawing my attention to this. And the only reason I'm talking about this again,
can y'all hear it? Let me know if you can hear it, because I know it's kind of low. Let me know if you can hear the video real quick. Okay. So I'll tell you, I don't know if there's a way to get out that echo, but if it gets out of control, y'all let me know.
Remember I said I'd only give Justin Baldoni a minute. I made one minute video, and that's it. The only reason I'm talking about this again is because this theory, I think, has some merit. After rewatching Deadpool and Wolverine last night, I'm convinced Ryan Reynolds wrote Nice Pool as a way to mock Justin Baldoni. And here's her evidence. When Nice Pool tells Deadpool and Wolverine about Lady Pool and comments on how great she looks despite just having a baby, Deadpool says, "I don't think you're supposed to make comments like that." And then Nice Pool says,
"That's okay. I identify as a feminist."
Also, Nice Pool wears a man bun and suffers an agonizing death, which ends up in having his head explode. Basically, he's decapitated. And he's the only Deadpool that can't regenerate. Think about it. So I woke up with this message sent to me by Mel, and she said to me in the message, "I don't understand this, but I figured you would because you've seen all these movies. But this is my candy. Like superhero movies, that's my high fructose corn syrup. So that's my shut my brain off and watch sort of content. But even in that content, I'm noticing some things. But anyway, I absolutely think this theory is correct. All the way down to what Nice Pool says, how he looks, the car he drives. He drives a Honda Odyssey. And for those of you who've seen the film, the Honda Odyssey, according to Deadpool, is the worst car ever. I mean, everything from the hideous looking yet adorable dog, the gold-plated weapons he has. It's almost as if Ryan's saying he doesn't deserve it. Everything this man has, he doesn't deserve because he's a douchebag. And this other bit that I caught that Cheryl didn't, or at least maybe I didn't see the whole thread. Take a look at this.
You are so mean. My brain could taste your fingers and they tasted like hate. And where in God's name is the intimacy coordinator?
I mean, right? Where is the intimacy coordinator? That was my question when I started reading about all the stuff that went on the set of It Ends With Us. Where in the hell is the intimacy coordinator? Because at least with the scenes with him ad-libbing or, improving the sex scenes, that problem could have gone away if you had an intimacy coordinator. So Cheryl, girl, I think you might be onto something. Nice Pool is Justin Baldoni. And now I can't unsee it.
Have you all seen Deadpool? Have you seen it? Because listen, let me explain that what Kat say. Ooh. Exactly. Now, I've told you all in a couple of other screens what I have known, what I have been made aware of about Ryan Littles, that he's real snarky. He's real snarky, and he has one of those types of attitude. I don't know if it's petty, but it's real snarky. So it's interesting. That's interesting to see that. And why would he say that in that particular, now that we're talking about quote unquote intimacy coaches, why would he make that kind of joke? Anyway, let's continue. What we know about Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni's allegations. Baldoni reportedly started working on an adaptation of Colleen Hoover's novel, It Ends With Us, in 2019. The story was a book talk darling, but some argued the plot made domestic violence seem glorious. Filming on It Ends With Us started in May 2023, was delayed by a writer's strike, then wrapped in early 2024. Deadpool and Wolverine filming spanned from May 2023 to January 2024 and was also affected by the SAG-AFTRA strike between July and November. At the It Ends With Us premiere in August, people noted that co-stars took photos together, but Baldoni appeared to walk the red carpet without other co-star. He has now alleged that Lively tried to ban him from the event. Because remember, I read in that tweet that not the tweet, but the message sent under one of my videos, the comments was the fact that Sony and the book's writer loved Blake Lively. And I think I've read that where they said that the book writer wanted Blake Lively to play the role. Fans also noted that several people tied to the film had unfollowed Baldoni on social media, including co-stars Brandon Skillner and Janie Slate, in addition to Hoover and Lively. The Gossip Girl actress filed a complaint with California Civil Rights Department alleging sexual harassment during the filming by Baldoni and Jamie Heath, the CEO of Wayfarer Studios. She said her co-star and director would improvise intimate scenes, then force multiple takes, re-edit the film to add more graphic content after she'd approved a different cut, and that he entered her dressing room while she was undressed for breastfeeding her son. So I'm not going to read too much more because we've got so much information that I wanted to go back through. So that was what I saw from the Clarion Ledger. So let's see. Did I click on? Yes, I clicked on that. And y'all understand real quickly, I am not this savvy on all of this technology. So if you hear a hiccup, that's just me. So here it says here, this was a tweet by Dorothy Starks, and it is the haunted new twist in the Blake Lively Justin Baldoni scandal. And so this is from slate.com. And so this is slate.com, written by Jill Filipovic. The haunted new twist in the Blake Lively Justin Baldoni scandal. It says there's a new twist in the dispute between actors Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. It says a lot more about our society than it does about them. Last month, Lively filed a legal complaint that claimed Baldoni and film producer Jamie Heath not only sexually harassed her on the set of their blockbuster hit It Ends With Us, but they, along with their production company Wayfarer, hired a crisis public relations firm to smear her reputation. This past summer, after the film's release, the New York Times reported on the details of the allegations made in the complaint, which include messages from the crisis PR representative asserting that they could easily bury Lively. Baldoni and Heath deny any wrongdoing. The response to the story was gigantic, in part because the smear campaign against Lively was successful even beyond the scope of what the crisis PR firm could have hoped to accomplish. As one of the crisis PR reps who orchestrated the campaign put in a message uncovered via subpoena, the amount of bashing Lively was subjected to online was actually sad, because it just shows you have people really wanting to hate on women. Baldoni, known previously for his role on CW Jane the Virgin, was dropped by his talent agency. Now, also, one of the things that's coming from that is that Blake and Ryan were under the same WME. They're under the same talent agency. And it is rumored that Ryan basically forced WME to get rid of Justin Baldoni. Now, that's the rumor that's going out. Now, Ryan says that he didn't do that, but that is the rumor that's going on. All right, here's the new twist. That's what I want to get to. The new twist is that Baldoni, Wayfair, and Crisis Communication Representative have now sued the Times for libel for its reporting and claiming some $250 million in damages. Baldoni and Wayfair don't dispute that they hired a crisis PR firm, but they said that they did too out of a legitimate need for public relations protection from Lively herself, as they fear she was on the brink of taking some interactions out of context or blowing them out of proportion. What happened on set, they argue, wasn't actually sexual harassment, and Lively's claims that that are simply false. In fact, the lawsuit implies she was a diva, and supposedly they're going to sue Lively soon. Now, Baldoni's lawyer said in a statement that he was ready to sue. And let me show you this article, because sometimes I'm reading the articles and I'm not showing it to you, but this is the article that I was reading from Slate. So his lawyer was on, I think it was an NBC affiliate, was saying that lawsuit was coming soon. Let me see. So this is coming from, again, and I am reading the tweets and things from the community, because like I said, you all are the things, but but we'll get back to film. But this is the one that I wanted to go over. And this is Ariadna Jacobs. And I think, is this the one that you sent to me, Kat? I'm thinking that this is the one that you were sent to me, but she is a social media manager. If you're on TikTok, she managed, what's that girl's name? She was very, very big on TikTok, and she managed a couple of other things. Now, she sued the New York Times for libel, and I don't think she won. I don't know if her cases come through, but she has been very harsh and critical about the New York Times and stuff like that. And she made this, she wrote this, if you all can see it. Did you know that the New York Times has not lost a libel suit since the 1960s? Did y'all know that? So do you think, because yesterday when I did my live, we read what Andrea Burkhart said, that you have to prove malicious intent. So let me see, Kat. Here we go. This is what I want to see. She settled with New York Times and Taylor Lorenz. One claim survived motion to dismiss. Okay. But she's been going through here and going through all kinds of stuff right here about New York Times. There was something else. This is what I wanted to see. Let's see if we can. Is this the one that's clickable? It's a thread. This is the thread I wanted to go through. I don't understand. Do you all understand why does it keep going back to the? Let's listen to this. This is Classy Redneck Lady.
To be let in on. I'm the only one that feels this way. I'm sure. I am. This is an unpopular opinion. So I wanted you to be let in on to where my mind is with this Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively situation. Probably won't be talking about it again because I don't want to give fuel to this fire, because here's where my mind is. Do you remember the Amber Heard Johnny Depp case? That did really well in the media, on social media. Everybody was dissecting every little thing, getting tons of hits, making tons of money for these people, these puppet masters, okay? So in my mind, I'm thinking that the puppet masters were like, let's do it again the following year. Let's get another couple. It's the same situation, just with a different couple now. But look, same color woman, same color hair, very darker male hair. I'm thinking hair, colors of hair, but it's so very similar. Do you see? Are you cutting through this illusion too? Like, everyone is dissecting the same thing. They just had a slight plot twist. But it's a very similar script. Like the puppet master's like, who do we have that we can use in the court system again to get lots of hits and lots of views and have people talking about celebrities again? In comes Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively. Well, this will ruin Blake's career, and Ryan ain't doing so well. So I don't know what these puppet masters have on those two to be like, and you won't ever be working again after this. This is your last hurrah. Do
Sorry about that. Can this be true? Tell me, can this?
I don't know why anybody in Hollywood would ever want to work with these two again. Honestly, I don't know why anybody in Hollywood would ever want to work with these two again. Honestly, after reading all 80-some pages of Justin Baldoni's lawsuit against the New York Times, they lay it out step by step how she really did hijack this film. I'm just saying, if I was a director or a producer, I don't know why I would invite these two to be part of my creative endeavor now that I've seen that they are capable of hijacking a movie. Truly. And I know that reading a lawsuit sounds boring, but I promise this one is not. It's not like riddled with legal jargon that you can't understand. It's very easy to follow, and there's a whole timeline of how she was able to essentially take over control so many aspects of the movie, starting with her wardrobe. That's how we ended up with this monstrosity, in my opinion. This looks awful. I know it, you know it, we all know it. Everybody except for Blake knows it, okay? The lawsuit even states that prior to filming even beginning for this movie, most of the wardrobe I don't know why anybody in Hollywood would ever want to work with these two again. Honestly, after reading all 80 some pages of Justin Baldoni's lawsuit against the New York Times, they lay it out step by step how she really did hijack this film. I'm just saying, if I was a director or a producer, I don't know why I would invite these two to be part of my
I wanted to pause this really quick, and I apologize. I wanted to start this back over because I'm trying to find that actual tweet. But as I'm looking, I'll put this up here too. But a lot of people feel like they have been going through this lawsuit, and maybe that's why it's so compelling that people are able to read it without all that extra legal jargon that I know Kat loves, but I try to skip over because if I don't understand it, I'll skip over and read about it later. But I just wanted to say that.
Of my creative endeavor now that I've seen that they are capable of hijacking a movie. Truly. And I know that reading a lawsuit sounds boring, but I promise this one is not. It's not like riddled with legal jargon that you can't understand. It's very easy to follow. And there's a whole timeline of how she was able to essentially take over control so many aspects of the movie, starting with her wardrobe. That's how we ended up with this monstrosity, in my opinion. This looks awful. I know it, you know it, we all know it. Everybody except for Blake knows it, okay? The lawsuit even states that prior to filming even beginning for this movie, most of the wardrobe shopping was already done. All the time, effort, energy, and money, okay? Their whole budget was mostly already spent. And then she comes in and she's like, I don't really care. I want to wear what I want to wear. And then from then on, it really does seem as though they were playing whack-a-mole with her demands because every single time she wanted something new, they would acquiesce to her because
y'all, that mess that Justin Baldoni has on is awful looking too. Why are you wearing the pajama pants with the thing? It looks ridiculous. But this is just someone talking about the wardrobe. I don't really want to get into it. I'm trying to find that TikTok with
This always.
The fact.
I love you so fucking much.
is it this?
Do you plan to sue Blake Lively?
Okay.
Do you plan to sue Blake Lively?
Absolutely.
You will.
Yes.
Just days after Justin Baldoni and 9 other defendants filed a lawsuit against the New York Times for their report on the Blake Lively complaint, Baldoni's attorney Brian Friedman told NBC News that they will also be suing Blake Lively and soon. And according to People, when that lawsuit is filed, the plaintiffs will include Justin Baldoni, his production company Wayfair, the publicist Jennifer Abel, and the crisis PR manager Melissa Nathan, who were both named in Blake Lively's lawsuit, and they plan to name the lawsuit against Blake Lively, her publicist Leslie Sloan, and Baldoni's former publicist Stephanie Jones, who was the employer for Jennifer Abel, and who also filed her own lawsuit in this whole mess. When Justin filed his libel lawsuit against the New York Times on New Year's Eve, people were asking, well, why didn't he sue Blake directly? That's because Blake.
I'm trying to find it and
filed, but it was also filed.
The fact.
I'm trying to find it, but it doesn't look like I saved it.
Yes.
Just days after Justin Baldoni and
I'm sad about that.
filed a lawsuit.
I apologize, y'all. I thought I had saved it, but I did not. And I'm very sad about that. Because she talked about how she met him and he was very nice. And then there was the one about the interaction with I hate that I can't find what I want to find. But anyway, she had there. Let me see if hold on. Because we're going to go over this, and I'm just trying to see if it was also in here. Ugh, I apologize because I like to have as much as my information on deck. So it says here with Ariadna Jacobs, and like I said, that she sued the New York Times, and as Kat has let us know, she did settle. She is, as it says over here, a social media strategist. She's the founder of the creatorgenius.com, and she helps SMB scale social, survived a media hit job, author of Cracking the Fame Algorithm, and she lives in Vegas. So this is her thread. Saga continues. Blake Lively sues Justin Baldoni following her Christmas Eve CRD complaint, dubbed a dodge to avoid discovery by Baldoni's lawyers. Well, Lively's team just said, hold my florals. First, the differences. The initial California complaint was filed with the state civil rights department, basically step one in getting permission to sue. This new lawsuit is a federal filed case in New York. It combines California's laws with Title VII of the Civil Rights Act. Why New York? Interstate allegations, PR firms, and media tactics operating across state lines. This new lawsuit is federal, filed in New York, Southern District of New York, same district where I was sued for the NYT defamation. Why? It widens the scope, adding Title VII federal workplace law to California claims. New York courts handle media and defamation cases where harm crosses state lines. Anti-SLAPP. Now, Kat, you may be able to understand this part. Anti-SLAPP. California has stricter rules to stop strategic lawsuits against public participation. If Baldoni's team won an anti-SLAPP motion there, Lively might have faced hefty fees. New York version isn't as harsh. Filing this in New York isn't just a legal move, it's strategic. First, it avoids California's anti-SLAPP laws. California anti-SLAPP law is like a courtroom boomerang. File a weak defamation case and it could swing back, forcing you to pay the other side's legal fees. New York's anti-SLAPP, let's just say, is not packing the same punch. Second, federal lawsuits like this one can't be televised. After Depp versus Heard, nobody wants their cross-examination turned into TikTok memes. Keeping it in Southern District of New York means keeping it off your FYP. Interesting. Because with isn't that why they sued in the Carolinas? Let's see. Lively claims include sexual harassment, retaliation. She says Baldoni's PR team targeted her with the smear campaigns. 3, defamation. 4, COVID negligence. 5, workplace misconduct. What's new? The lawsuit zooms in on PR tactics, alleged media manipulation, and reputational harm. And the reputational harm on a much bigger stage. Sexual harassment, Lively's most serious claims, and we've all read this, and I'm not going to go too far deep with all of that. But I did, like I said, she was one that I wanted to be able to see and to show what the public was thinking. Let me get back to my bookmarks. Because I'm still reeling from the fact that I don't have that video like I want it to be. Let's go down, keep going down my bookmarks. We saw that. We read that. And it's odd that her name is not coming up here. Here it is. Just an extra scroll.
News outlets started to DM me.
All right, let me get it. Here it is.
I found out that Blake Lively included me in her lawsuit documentation when all these news outlets started to DM me. Everything I'm about to tell you is based off of what I witnessed and what I experienced. I had no part in making this movie. I have no idea what happened on set. I don't know what he went through. I don't know what she went through. This is just what I witnessed. If you don't already know, I was mentioned in Blake Lively's lawsuit to Justin Baldoni. I made a video in August. I will go ahead and pin it for now. Here's what happened. One of my mom's friends owned the production company with Justin that produced this movie. I was a big fan of the book. I was really excited about the movie, so my mom included me in going to the premiere with her. This premiere was in a small suburb of Chicago, and there were not a ton of people there. After the movie was over, Justin came in and the director came in, and they just kind of talked about their movie and the experience. Justin talked about all the research that he had done to make this movie as authentic as possible. You guys can decide if it was authentic or not. Don't come for me. He talked about how he attended counseling sessions of men who were abusers so that he could understand his part in the movie more. He talked about how he partnered with counselors and support systems for women who have experienced domestic violence so that he could really, show the support and be able to give a more authentic take. He also talked about how he could never understand what it feels like to be a woman in this situation. He said, I don't know what it's like to have to carry pepper spray to get to my car and, all of that kind of stuff, which I really appreciated hearing him say. When I met him, he was nothing but kind. And I just happened to notice that in Blake Lively's interviews, she never mentioned domestic violence, which pissed me off. So in my video that is referenced, I talked about that. No, I was not paid to smear her. I wasn't even asked to post about the movie. Literally just a girl. Let me know what your questions are. I'll be answering them.
I promise I don't have too much more. I think this is it.
Baldoni was there. I truly believe. I feel like I might get a cease and desist from this video, but I truly don't care because I came with receipts. I went to the premiere of It Ends With Us. Justin Baldoni was there. I truly believe it is one of the best movies ever made. It touches on a very sensitive topic of domestic violence in the best way possible. And I am flabbergasted that with the huge audience that Blake Lively has and all of the press interviews that she's had, she doesn't once talk about domestic violence. I don't even know if I'm about to show you what I'm about to show you, but I really don't care. This man did not know that one person was recording. He was saying this simply for his audience that was there of like 30 people. Just watch.
I don't know what it's like to have to think about having pepper spray with me and to generally think about my safety. I will never have this lived experience. And so it was crucial for me and thinking about how to play Ryle to partner with an organization and with people that could actually help me get into his psyche, both as a filmmaker, right, and respecting the source material and wanting to honor and make something that had the ability to shed a truthful light on a situation that is kept in the dark, which is domestic violence. So we partnered with our friends at No More, who are actually here. Jane, right there, Jane Randall.
All right. Y'all, that's all that I have. That's what I wanted to show. I wanted to see if they had, this is Lily. And I haven't gone through most of her stuff yet, and I'll do that later. All right. And we did over the Andrew Burkhart. All right. Because I want to see if I can get Lily on the show if she's willing to do that. Let's stop sharing this to go over her stuff. All right. So what did you all think? We went over some of the comments left on my other videos. We went over a couple of articles talking about this, and we went over the information from the young lady who was in Blake Lively's lawsuit. So again, this information keeps coming out at me. I'm still seeing, I haven't seen anything that's showing me that it was not about the money. I saw this in here. Let me get to you. Saw it in here. I saw this. Well, there was a whole thing in Deadpool where TJ Miller was removed from the franchise with the SA claim. Him and Ryan are fighting now. Huh. Gotcha. Now, someone said they showed that what's in the theaters is oh, you're talking about the premiere, why it got such higher ratings. Okay. All right. All right. All right. I think I've gotten everybody on here. So I just wanted to go over that. I will come back if I get more stuff just to kind of banter. And also too, if any of you all are not you can be camera shy, but if you can want to talk about this case, I'm going to do another live, probably, what is today? Saturday. It'll probably be Monday evening around the same time. If you are interested in coming up with me so we can go back and forth and banter about the case, and Kat, I'm going to invite you as well. I'm going to send you a link in X. But if you all are interested, at the end on the comments of the video, let me know. Probably I'll probably do like an all call from the comment section, and you'll have like 2 or 3 minutes to give me some information that you want to give me or talk about the case. I am not a stickler on your face being shown, but I do want to see your face behind the scenes. All the information that you say, we will say that that's the information that you're giving us. I would like for you to be able to cite some sources if you have some sources, or have them to me so that I can go over with them as well. Because here's the couple of things that I want to talk about. And so if you know anybody in these particular fields, y'all let me know. Do you know anybody that works PR on any level? And if you do, you could get them to contact me. I'm at Pam Entertainment TV at gmail.com. And I think it's scrolling down at the bottom. I hope it is. If you know anybody at PR that I can contact, see if I can get them on the show, I'd appreciate it, because I do want to talk about this PR angle and what they do to be able to in this field of PR, and to get their opinions about what's going on. I really would love to get somebody like that. And I'm going to be searching and doing my feelers as well. But tentatively, I'm going to do another live Monday. So y'all let me know if there's anybody. You can let me know down in the comments, or again, contact me at Pam Entertainment TV at gmail.com. It's all one word. All right, people. We do this every week. Let me see. I got some new comments. Right. Uh-oh, I missed a whole conversation. Here we go. Ackerling. But she gave those partially to the New York Times to let the court of public opinion crucify. Are you talking about the amended text messages? Thank you. That's where I think she was set up to get backlash, because JB talked about DV and she couldn't. Again, I'll find that interview that she did, but she didn't say much about it. She was she talked about her and her feelings and how it was like how compelled she was to be able to do this story, but she didn't talk about the story. She just talked about her experience about the story. All right, people. I think I got all the comments. All right. I do this every week. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video if you care. Y'all, Justin will say my show, because this honestly would have been on my show, Stunt Shows and Shenanigans, but it's not coming because I'm revamping it. So it's not coming out till the end of the month. But again, and I do that show on Sundays. Sunday is my regular upload date for that, and I do that show live. But anyway, please so just be looking out for that. Y'all, please tell a friend, tell a kin, tell a coworker, tell that heifer that you can't stand that I'm over here making these videos. I am interested in this lawsuit. I don't know when anything is coming out, but I do want to be able to talk about it because it's so many different aspects, from the PR situation, from people crafting relationships in Hollywood, how social media now is playing a part of it. All of these little different things are fascinating. So y'all let me know. If there was harassment, most women would not go into work until they agreed to a change either. So this is why you're saying that there was a meeting in the home. I can understand that part about not going into work until they agreed onto a change, but I cannot understand why you would invite that person into your home. Why would you invite someone who you say is harassing you? Because if you look at that harassment, and don't take this as I'm blaming a victim, but if someone is harassing you the way you say that they are harassing you, my home, my sanctuary, my safe place would be the last place as a woman that I would invite that person to. Now, there should have been a neutral place where they could have had this production meeting or this, whatever this meeting was. I'm just a person. It could be just me. I consider my home, my sanctuary, my safe place. Everybody doesn't get access to my home. So I have an issue in that part, that you would invite a person who has, if what you're saying to me, and I'm just speaking for as a lay person, I would not invite someone in my home who I feel like it has been causing me harm at work. You do not get to cross the threshold of my sanctuary. I'm not going to allow for you to do that. So I don't understand why that was acceptable. I'm not in the entertainment business, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't care about what kind of business that you're in. I just wouldn't invite people to my home like that. Okay. She threatened not to return before getting the return to protection again. And that was fine. That was fine. But to have that meeting in your home, I don't agree with that. If you think about it, RR and BL did so many things that were unprofessional. It just, someone who, me looking at it again, I'm a layperson. I would find that to be very strange. I couldn't, and I will be honest with you all. With my level of thinking, I'm going to give you the side eye, because now I'm having to question everything you say, because I can't. And again, that's just me and my personality. I can't get down with inviting anyone. If I felt like you talked to me disrespectfully, if I felt like if you hit and you swung at me, and if you were doing something to me on my job, which was causing me agony, where I couldn't go out in the public anymore, or I couldn't go to the job or anything like that, I'm not inviting you into my home. I'm just not. And that makes me side eye her. A business meeting at home while entertaining friends and guests in the other room. Because then it makes me wonder, was it a business meeting? I'm speaking as someone who has, okay. Production meetings in your trailer while pumping. Very unprofessional. Like I said, I had even given there's a lot of benefits of the doubt that I give both parties. There's just some things for me, and they have nothing to do with legally. They just have everything to do with me. It's just socially. There's just certain things that I wouldn't do. There's just certain things I wouldn't do. I'm not Blake Lively. I'm not Jason Baldoni, and I'm not Stephanie Jones. I don't work in that area. So again, I could be, my biases are coming just from being a regular old degular schlegler person. So she went into the director's editing bay for 10 days alone with Justin. Is that in the lawsuit? I know, I remember seeing in the tweets where editor 1 and editor 2 and Justin told them that he wasn't allowed to come in. So interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of unprofessional stuff going on both sides. So just to be fair, since I talked about Blake, about what I thought was unprofessional, I thought it was unprofessional for Jamie to bring in pictures of his wife, him and his wife, when they were giving birth. Now, there's nothing wrong with you describing it, and there's nothing wrong with you saying, hey, I got a picture. Does anybody want to see it? And if they say yes, then you can show it to the person that wanted to see it. But it shouldn't have been on a big PowerPoint board or here, look at this, or pass it around or anything like that. I felt like that was inappropriate, because number one, even though you're giving permission because your image is in that picture, you totally disregarded your wife. Did your wife, was your wife okay with you showing a picture of her in partly undressed and showing a picture for her in one of the most vulnerable moments that a woman can be? I don't know. I don't know if his wife gave permission for that or not, but still, those are things that if since those are type of pictures that are sensitive, you show it to the person who says, yes, I would like to see it. If everybody in the picture had permission, had given permission for that picture to be shown. It's my understanding it was harassment, not the assault, Gary. Yes, and that's fine, but still, in my opinion, if I don't know if any of you all have been to work and you all have been stressed out at work, people are doing all kinds of stuff and saying all kinds of things. You got deadlines, you got all these things, and you are stressed. I don't invite those people to my home. Even though I'm not alone. Because again, if this person is showing you moral and value behaviors that to your morals and your values are beneath what you believe, why are you inviting them over the threshold of your home? Your home is your sanctuary. I don't care that these people were alone and they were part of a meeting or anything like that. I don't care. If you're having that type of meeting, which you're talking about making sure that your safety is paramount on this set, and if you were hosting people and you really didn't have time to have a full-fledged meeting, then you should have made time to have a full-fledged meeting. Because I'm quite sure that party that you were having, or those people that were going in and out of your household, you've known about that for quite a long time. This meeting could have been had at 9 o'clock in the morning. I just can't get down with that. Hey, Andre. No, you wouldn't. But again, it's not my understanding that there was assault happening. She's saying that she was harassed because of while they were on scene, there was extra kisses and wanting to meet to do without the intimacy coach and all of that. All right, people. We do this every week. And Andre, I don't know if you were here or not, but I'm going to I'm going to have I'm going to talk about this this case again on Monday. I would love to have someone who is in the PR profession to kind of come up and give us some insight about working in PR. So I'm going to be working behind the scenes to see if I can get someone to do that. And again, if anyone knows anybody in PR that will be willing to just talk about it, it's going to be general questions about PR and general questions about the behaviors, or what maybe like a scenario about what you would do to kind of assist a client through a crisis or anything like that. And so I'm going to have that on my tentatively. I'm going to have it on Monday. I've got to work behind the scenes to see if I can get someone to be able to come up and talk about that. So that's, and we just went over what the public was saying. So I went over some of the comments, and then I went over some tweets and TikTok stories about certain things. Okay. But again, y'all, please tell a friend, tell a kin, tell a coworker, tell that heifer that you can't stand that I'm over here making these videos. And as always, people, bye-bye. Thanks for joining me, y'all.